Hello everyone, it's the latest edition of the Rob and Mo Show. We are two wise old wizards who are going to be taking you through Wolves Week, as I will continue to call it. This show is being sponsored by NordVPN, so if you go to nordvpn.com/TAW, you get a great deal exclusive to you people, all about getting you great internet security if you're going to be travelling. It feels like most of our sponsors are trying to help you hide where you are if you're going on the internet. Is there some kind of theme running here?
Well, these days of international conflagrations and World War III vibes, I think it was particularly useful to be able to keep in touch with friends and loved ones around the globe and to watch your favourite sports.
Absolutely, definitely. Wherever you are on holiday or wherever you are.
Whatever war zone you happen to be in.
NordVPN have got you covered. As I say, you get 30-day money-back guarantee. Put my teeth in. If you go to nordvpn.com/TAW. Now, normally when we do a show, one of us will send the other one a little text with an agenda saying, this is what we're going to talk about. This is
cursory preparation.
Yes. The very cursory preparation. We didn't do that today. And the reason we didn't do that today, because it's bloody obvious what we're going to be talking about, because Liverpool...
Is that why we didn't do it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
That's why I didn't do it.
Oh, okay. Not because we were busy and couldn't be bothered.
No,
not that at all.
Of course not.
No. We knew what we talked. We know we can do this without thinking, Mo. That's the thing about it.
Exactly. Simpatico.
Yeah.
It's match day. Liverpool playing Wolves, part one of Wolves Week. And I'm going to continue calling it Wolves Week because it feels in my hand.
WW something. Wolves Week. I don't know. They need another W. I forget about it. Wolves Week will do.
Well, because no, it's more like, like Shark Week. They have that Shark Week thing in America where they'll...
Do they?
Yes.
What happens?
Well,
sharks get together?
It's just a whole show, a whole week of shows about sharks.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
my language here, but...
It's quite good.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't like sharks, Mo.
You don't like them?
I don't like looking at them. I don't like thinking about them.
So I quite like sharks, but I wouldn't want to be one of those people inside the cage while I wouldn't want to No. I can happily appreciate
I can't watch Jaws. I find it too scary.
Really?
I find sharks scary.
So,
and not just like actually I wouldn't want to be in shark infested waters. No one would want that. I don't like watching films about them, anything.
So
sharkophobic.
I went to see Jaws in one of those new 3D cinemas where the seats move and like the water comes at you and all that gear.
What?
It was amazing.
Was it?
Yeah, it really was.
I saw Jaws
shit your pants.
when it came out at the cinema at a kid's party. I don't know how that was allowed. It was like an 8-year-old's party. We got to go to the cinema and see Jaws. I think that's why I've remained shark traumatized.
When you're that age, it kind of gets in your bones, doesn't it?
It did.
Anyway, luckily, we're not talking about sharks. We are to talk about Wolves. It's a weird situation with Wolves because you look at where they are in the table and you think, this is the bottom team of the table. It should be quite easy. They've lost 10 games at home in the league already, which is a ridiculous amount. But their last 2 home games, they drew with Arsenal, who were top of the league, and they beat Aston Villa, who at that point were third in the league. So they're brimming with confidence in terms of being able to give the big boys a bloody nose. So in that respect, it's a bad time to play them. But Liverpool should still go their favourites, correct?
Yes, I did check the odds yesterday. I've totally forgotten what they were, but we are strong favourites for it. I mean, I said to a friend when the Wolves 2-0 result came through, I said, look, that's a mixed blessing of a result for Liverpool just right now. Obviously, Villa dropping points is good for us in our Champions League ambitions. My ambition for us to finish third, never mind fourth or fifth. But it does put a team that's been poor all season in as near as they're going to get to a rich vein of form. Mm-hmm. As you said, to come back against Arsenal the way they did was impressive. I mean, in the other fixture against Arsenal, they were unlucky to lose.
Yeah, they were.
And they gave us a game at Anfield, as they tend to.
Yeah.
So it's a game where we can take nothing for granted. I think it was Neil did a show. He was talking to Wolves guys at Rich Hobbs. I think he does it. And he did make the point that Liverpool should win, but they're going to have to turn up. This is not one of those things where we can muddle our way and just decide to knock a couple of goals in second half and it'll be fine. We're going to have to put on a bit of a performance.
Yes, and speaking of which, if you remember Liverpool's last away performance, it started very badly at Nottingham Forest and they weren't at the races and had to rely on basically profligacy from Nottingham Forest in order to get in half-time 0-0. So I think if Liverpool think they can get away with that, again, they probably will be mistaken. So you're right to say that Liverpool have to absolutely be on their mettle.
Would you rather face this Wolves or this Forest in the next fixture? They're both down the bottom. They've both got a little bit of form.
I think I would actually rather face Forest simply because they are still at the early stages of the new manager, and Vitor Pereira has not exactly pulling up loads of trees and changing lots of things, but different things they are still taking time to get used to him. I think Wolves under Rob Edwards are pretty much established now. They know how they want to play, they know who's going to play, and they have that confidence of knowing that even if the results necessarily aren't going to be enough to get them where they need to be, then it's working. They all believe in him.
I felt Forest though I haven't watched hardly any of Wolves, and why would I? But I have watched Forest recently, having been at the City Ground, and it occurs to you that they're a front foot team with dangerous, pacey players, and they were able to pose a real threat to a Liverpool who were under par. And you could see if they had confidence, so they wouldn't have to be in the part of the table that they're in. No. You know, there's not much between them and some of the mid-table teams, I think. In terms of the quality of player they have as much as anything. Do you think Wolves have that quality of player?
I do, actually. I think the two in the middle, João Gomez and Andre, are quite underrated. Obviously, Andre was someone who Liverpool looked at before he ended up signing for Wolves. I think if Wolves, should I say, when Wolves go down, João Gomez will be of interest to quite a few different teams. Obviously, there's lots to talk around Matheus Mane. He seems to be another one who looks like he's going to move on. But there are a couple of other players here and there who I think are good quality. There's one who I want to talk about, Yerson Mosquera, who's the defender. And he is a good defender. But
is he on loan from someone?
I don't believe so. I think they've signed him outright. But that's not why I want to talk about him. Why I want to talk about him is because he is a nutcase. You know, every now and then you'll get one of those centre-halves.
Like Romero?
A bit, I would say probably a bit more David Luiz than Romero.
Okay.
Because sometimes you'll do something and you'll be like, why the hell have you done that? But then sometimes you'll do something and think, how the hell has he done that? So he can be fantastic, but he can also be...
He's a ball player.
He is a ball player. But what he also is an irritant. Now, he's the one who Gabriel Jesus got into tangle with at the end of the Arsenal game, and he's also the one who had a bit of a running battle with Morgan Rogers in the Aston Villa game. And what happened in both times, he's one of those defenders who'll make a tackle and then he'll celebrate and stand over them and go "Rrr," and basically just try and wind up the opposition.
Yes.
So my point
he's
here
a piece of work.
Yes, my point here is that his instructions will be to try and take Liverpool out of their game. So I don't think Liverpool have really had that much experience in recent times in playing players who are quite as irritant as that. So I'll be interested to see how they react to it.
Do you think he'll look to wind Ekitike up in particular?
I think Ekitike is a prime candidate for being wound up, for sure. I think, particularly with Florian Wirtz not being around, if he was playing, I would have said he would have been the one. But you look at Mo Salah, he's an experienced guy. He's not really going to fall for that stuff. Cody Gakpo's quite a calm.
Too chilled.
He's too chill. I don't think it would work on him. Whereas Ekitike, I mean, we've already seen there were times when emotions can rise to the top with him. We think of the taking his shirt off when he didn't need to take his shirt off, etc. So I think if you're Rob Edwards, he's the one. And obviously Mosquera is a centre-half, so he's going to be in direct competition with him quite a lot. So yeah, that's probably something to keep an eye on. Yeah. But generally, the way the Wolves like to play and the way they've played in those two games is that they are quite narrow. So I've actually watched quite a lot of Wolves in my journalistic adventures. I've seen them at Everton, I've seen them at United, I've seen them at City. So I've seen how they play in big occasions against the team who potentially is better than them, and Everton.
Lol.
Cheers, Pad. But yes, essentially what they want to do is they want to clog up the middle of the pitch. And for Liverpool...
They narrow their wide men, don't they, to join the midfield?
Yes. So that means two things. One, Liverpool without Florian Wirtz are probably going to have a bit of trouble trying to navigate their way through the centre. But what it also means is it's going to be space out wide. Now, what that means is it's really going to be a big game, I think, personally, for Cody Gakpo. Because...
What, and his propensity to not go outside?
Well, this might be the time where we have to literally hypnotise this fella, or maybe even just like point him in the other direction.
Well, I noticed, and I felt it like, Jesus, this is the first time I've seen that this season. He actually looked up and threaded Milos Kerkez in a wide position. Something we took for granted when Mane and Robertson played together, or even Robertson and Luis Diaz. But for some reason, and I don't know what they're doing at the AXA, there's very little link-up play between Cody Gakpo and Kirkes, which is maddening to watch. But I noticed it the other day. I thought there's a bit of link-up play going on here. They actually noticed each other exist. And I blame Gakpo more than Kirkes. This is my predilection to do. So you've had a hard time.
Well, he's the senior player in terms of the and in terms of age. But.
So if there is space out wide, it is. Our pace it doesn't come from our wingers, it comes from our fullbacks. So it's not just the left side. I would look to Milos Kirkes, who put in a hell of a ball, which hasn't been talked about on Saturday, by the way, in the first half. But also, whatever we choose to do at right back could be key in this case.
Well, this was going to be where I follow on from, because I think that this is the perfect game for Frimpong as well. And I suspect, I've tried to read what Slot said a few times previously in terms of team selection and got it horribly wrong. So I take this with a pinch of salt. But when I kind of asked him about this in the press conference yesterday, check out my press conference review, also on YouTube on my channel.
I saw your questions, very intelligent questions.
Thank you. I do my best.
Yeah, you do.
But I tried to push him on whether or not having that extra space out wide would mean that Frimpong gets the nod over Gomez. And he didn't necessarily say for that. He said it's something he's considering. But what he did say was Joe Gomez started for the first time in a long time in the game against West Ham. And therefore, he might not necessarily want to start him again straight away with the 3 games in 7 days we've got coming up, which makes me think that by default, almost the most obvious person to play at right back would be Frimpong. And then when you add in all of what I said about the nature of the way the game may play out, and you saw what he did in his little cameo on Saturday, which is scare the holy bejesus out of everybody he ran at.
I had Neil on a show pitch for a left field Neil shout of it'll be Curtis Jones, it won't be Frimpong or Gomez, right? I don't think that's the case. I think, he's going to have to be careful with Jeremy Frimpong. He's had 2 hamstring injuries this season, just back, cameo off the bench, 1 week's training. Is he fit enough to start? Well, if he does play, he ain't getting more than 62 minutes, right?
Yes, agreed.
But I think he has to play one of Gomez or Frimpong from right back. I think that's the right thing to do here to get the width you're describing as being available and necessary in this kind of game. So it's a toss-up. Do you risk Gomez and his propensity to not be able to complete 2 successive starts? Do you play Frimpong, a man who is just back from injury and has fallen prey to hamstring injuries? So it is a toss-up. I get that's why Neil's shout might not be the wildest. If it is the case and the left field choice of Curtis Jones goes up right back, some sort of irony there, then I do expect Frimpong to be introduced as early as he can be to change the game or to enhance our threat down that side.
I think there's definitely has to be a point where Frimpong will be getting more than 10-15 minutes. I take your point. I take your point in the fact that both Gomez and Frimpong have to be managed carefully because both of them have had more than one injury already this season.
Yeah.
But I do think if you're asking them to do a 60-30 or 55-35, I think that should be within both their remits, because then obviously this is something else we're going to come on to. Liverpool have gone very strong in the FA Cup in the last 2 rounds, with this being the 3rd game in 7 days, and with the Champions League game just on the horizon the week after. I suspect that this might be one where they don't go as strong.
Well, I think there's a case for starting neither Frimpong or Gomez against Wolves in the FA Cup on Friday. That's the one to do something a little bit risky with maybe Curtis in that position, or something wilder like trying Trainoni or, God forbid, Ramsey. God forbid in Arne Slot's world. I don't think we'll go weaker in the FA Cup game, by the way. I think at the end of Wolves week. I think it could be 4 to 5 changes. What do you think for that game? I mean, I think he's going to go as close as he can to one change for this one, right? It's a Frimpong Gomez decision, really. That's about it. Yeah. We don't expect to see Florian Wirtz this week. I think at best case scenario, we might see him off the bench, and I will come to talk about him in a sec. But so the changes you could make without upsetting the apple cart for the FA Cup would be to bring in Andy Robertson one side, to possibly bring Curtis in at right back or even in midfield. What would you do? And that might be the one to give. It should be the one to give Rio Ngamoa a start.
I would give Rio a start.
Ekitike on the bench.
I would give Chiesa a start and set in as a number 9.
Would you?
Yeah.
You wouldn't. I would. Might be tempted. If I wanted to stay stronger, I might push Cody inside, Rio left, Salah right. Bring Ekitike on the bench, and you bring on Ekitike and Chiesa later for a couple of the tiring ones. Don't know.
I wouldn't be averse to that either. I think I would definitely be looking. Rio would be my guarantee of the front 3 for that FA Cup game.
It's the bigger game for Wolves, that cup game.
It is.
So if they'll probably go similar lineup for both, but if they're going stronger in any, they're going stronger in that. So if they go stronger and we go weaker, we are putting at risk our FA Cup progress, but the league is the bigger deal.
I think, I always think that when Slot mentioned it previously, he said that he sees the League Cup and the FA Cup as different in terms of how he rotates. He said the League Cup is the one where he's always going to rotate. The FA Cup one is a bit more on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
I think if you're doing the case-by-case thing, the case here is to say that we probably do need to protect or to think about protecting some of these, because not only have we got the Champions League the week after, but there's an international break on the horizon. And again, the same question we always have with the international break is that loads of our players are really integral for their countries.
Well, if we say that the league game is probably more important to our ambitions this season than the FA Cup game, mad as that might seem, because you could afford to drop points in there as you can't. I would say one thing is certain. Away to Galatasaray next week is the biggest game of our season thus far.
So you say that we could, in theory, afford to drop points against Wolves. I think with Aston Villa playing against Chelsea the day after,
It would be a missed opportunity to do so.
it's imperative Liverpool get this win. And I think that when you factor in the fact that both of those teams are going to drop points in consecutive games, if Liverpool can then get the maximum from those 2 games and really put the pressure on, then that means that if Aston Villa win, Chelsea is 6 points behind Liverpool. Whereas if it's a draw, then Liverpool gain on both of them. And I think the idea of only taking 1 point in that kind of scenario is something where there's going to be other game weeks where they have the advantage in terms of we are playing a tougher game than they are.
I couldn't agree more. There's many things at play. It's a decisive moment in our race for fourth. It feels it. Not least because we could, touch wood, complete a 4th successive Premier League win, which we won't have done since, I think, did we do that in the title season? I'm not sure we even did 4. We did 1.
Yeah, we did a couple of 4s, but no 5s.
Yeah, so people aren't going on big runs in this league. That would represent something, and it would set us up for our next league game at home to Tottenham, who are struggling, to even extend this one. And from those kind of small acorns, runs grow, confidence grows, and you suddenly begin to look at yourself as a team in a different light. You say, hang on, we're not the bums of a couple of months back. We're not that flaky outfit. We're the team that wins games on the trot. We're and you start to get played. You start, Wirtz is back now. Isak's needed. You start to go, hang on a second, we're a totally different proposition. I'm jumping ahead, but this is theoretical.
And I think what you can say from those kind of potential ideas is that this is it's an optimistic reading of situation. The issue most people have with agreeing with that is that so far Liverpool haven't been reliable in consecutive games, as in they'll turn up for a game and you'll expect them to play well and they probably will underwhelm, or you turn up to a game and be expecting them to get battered or to play badly and they'll find the performance out somewhere. They haven't quite got I trust them to do this and then this and then this and then this. That's kind of where we need to get to. But this run could be what creates that situation. So fingers crossed Liverpool get it all done. But as you mentioned, this is going to be a week without Florian Wirtz. So, we suspect it will be both games without Florian Wirtz. We definitely know he won't be playing this evening. You've been quite nervous around the noises around Florian. You're unsure about exactly how vague they are and whether or not this could end up being something bigger than we're being told.
Well, I did think that until the manager calmed my nerves. He's the first. The press conference he gave before the West Ham game last Friday, I think it was, when asked about Wirtz, who we were all expecting to come back in for that game, he was told, nope, he's still out. Surprise to me. Don't know how long he's going to be out for. I mean, that got the rumour mill going. People go, hang on a sec, is this a big issue here? It is a nervy one with a back injury.
It is.
It is a nervy one. We've seen back injuries be talked about as a week or two, and then they can become months or two, and others go, well, they might need an operation in the summer kind of vibes. So even if you get the player, you're getting a half-assed version of the player. I was relieved, though, the way he talked about it, as though, yeah, Florian, touch and go for unlikely Tuesday, touch and go for Friday, defo next week, is the way he put it. I think we'll all deal. I'm not just so I was left pleased with that outcome. I think we'll all deal on that being the truth.
I would be happy to not have him this week if it guarantees him against Galatasaray.
Yeah,
I think that's the game where we need him back for. You're right to say back injuries are so hard to read, and I mean, as someone who's struggled with them in the past and pretty much exactly right
Testify.
now, honestly, is it the times when you can...
I've been out for seasons.
I've gone into semi-retirement. There are times when you think you're okay, and then you wake up the next day and suddenly you literally can't move.
Do you know what I've started doing, Mo? Fish oils.
Really?
Yeah, fish oil supplements.
It's
Absolutely sorted out my back problems. A GP told me, didn't believe him, it's sorted out. So there you go, Florian. Maybe the fish oils. You know? Yeah. Bit of turmeric as well, I've heard works, yeah?
No, that one does work. That one I will swear by. But the point being, it's a difficult situation because, and it's bad timing, if nothing else, because he was really starting to put his stamp on this Liverpool team. And you can tell how much he was doing that by how we've looked without him.
Yeah, we have looked. Yeah, we've looked flaky. We're not quite sure what we're doing, are we, with that? And they're looking for somebody who isn't there. Having said that, okay, Forest was a big case in point. We didn't look like a team at all really until the last quarter of that game, and we were able to bring the pace of Rio and Gamoa into play. West Ham, the most curious Liverpool performance I think I've seen in living memory, in that we did a lot of good things and made more individual errors, I think, than I've seen in any game this season. But what we didn't look was like a team without attacking ideas. You know, which is, against Forest, without Wirtz's creativity, thought, where is this coming from? Who's going to create any chances or any good attacking positions for us? That didn't look to be an issue to me against West Ham.
We were getting into good positions.
We get into good positions. We're not quite saying we could score at will, but we almost could score at will.
Yeah. I think the problem on Saturday was more hesitation and indecision. So there were a couple of times when McAllister should have maybe taken a shot and wanted to get onto his right foot. A couple of times when maybe Ekitike took a little bit too long to get a shot off. That kind of thing, rather than, like you say, being able to create those situations. But even within that, I think just having him around makes everyone a little bit calmer. I do think Salah in particular enjoys having him around more than not having him around. So the hope is that it ends up being something that we can kind of just put behind us. We don't want to have another injury kind of situation. But it does feel like every time we get a player back, someone else goes out. And it's been that way pretty much since the start of the season.
And so it's important players. Last season, we lost good players, but they weren't necessarily first 11 picks at the time. We lost Harvey for a while. We lost Diogo, but I'm not sure he was.
Konate's probably the only one, wasn't it?
Konate, and even that was very short-lived, wasn't it? He was out. Was it 2.5 weeks? Yeah, maybe it was a month in total. So we didn't really suffer in that way. Was this season we seem to have suffered with players who are essential. Like Conor Bradley goes out for the season at a point where we need him as our only right back. Isak goes out when we have very few, during AFCON actually, wasn't it? We lost Isak. We didn't have Mo Salah available. So that does feel the case. Like we've lost Florian Wirtz, our de facto best player. You know, you don't want to be. We're used to our best players always being on the pitch. Our Mohamed Salah's, our Sadio Mane's, our Virgil van Dijk's. So it's a newie to be without players of the quality of an Isak or a Wirtz.
It is, and hopefully it's something that Liverpool can ride out. Obviously, there are still good quality players in that midfield, good creative players in that midfield who should be able to pick up.
Our actual best player, who is Dominic Szoboszlai.
Yes.
Touchwood is still available.
Yes, he should still be available. So, final question: are you heading into Wolverhampton over the course of this week?
No, I'm giving it a miss. I've been to Wolverhampton many a times. Man's too busy, Mo, you know. Sorry, Wolverhampton, I know you enjoy me, but no, I won't be there this week.
So you are too busy. What exactly are you doing?
You know what I do? I open pubs. I chat about pubs on podcasts as well.
Yeah, this is kind of
what you're leading me to do.
Yes.
Do you know, only today, Mo, I think I'm going to record a podcast about pubs ahead of a new series of podcasts about pubs I'm doing. And I've got this guest on. You wouldn't believe it. Took me ages to negotiate with his agent to get him on.
Wait, I have an agent? What?
Yes, it's you.
It's me. Yes.
How excited we both are about this. Me, you, and young Stephen Graves.
Amazing.
And it should be fun.
Should be fun. So yeah, keep an eye out for that as well. We will be doing this.
Thanks for plugging.
Yeah.
Nothing to plug.
Well, see,
I'm not a pluggy guy. You're a pluggy guy.
Look,
you know when to plug. You plug fucking everything. No disrespect. I respect it.
Thank you. Yes. Again, it reminds me another shout for my YouTube channel.
There you go.
Hopefully, the algorithm.
You can't coach this.
Hopefully, the algorithm will place it nicely down here, so you just have to look to click. But otherwise, just search my name. You'll find me. But we're back in the groove of doing this now. We've had a couple of these. After a little while away, and if I look,
because Neil's been threatening to cancel us forever. So write in,
Yes.
write in, say to Neil, write in, whatever people do these days, and say, Neil, are you crazy? I don't care how little those two get their act together to be in a room together. You're still going to keep going with this show.
Yes,
because it's gold,
absolute gold. In fact, I'm not even sure what he'll make of the fact that we're going to be getting our act together to be in a room together later on today.
Yeah, it gives us no credit.
No, none at all.
No credit.
But we will be doing this again, hopefully before the end of this month and in the near future. So thank you for watching and enjoying. We'll see you again soon.